Hey guys, Harv here, and welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program. This is in fact the Kerbal Test Pilot, our series in which we take viewer-submitted ships and test them out, just to see how good our Kerbal community is at submitting and building craft. Today's entry is from Solusverd. Solusverd. Some guy called Solusverd, and his ship today is along the lines of things that have been more recently submitted, which is kind of just, yeah, let's have fun and mess about. So I present to you the IA Podracer, 78 parts and an awful lot of stages. Why is that? There's like 24 stages. The reason being that they aren't all functional stages, and how else do you make a Podracer other than using decouplers? Oh wow. Do you know what? This just says something about my nature. The first thing I thought when I looked at this, it loaded up. The first thing was, why is there RCS? Why is there RCS indeed? Huh, I guess, wow, can this thing actually, that may be some interesting uses. But nonetheless, yes, here we have a Podracer of sorts. And let's see how this thing flies before I really blabber on too much. Okay, so we basically, that's a parachute which is on the back and all of those decouplers. Interesting. Okay, pull up. Okay. Okay, that was interesting. Wow, excellent. Most G-force endured, 10.1 Gs. So let's have a look at the email then. Hey Harvey, I love watching your videos, and whilst watching this episode, thank you. Watching an episode of Kerbal Test Pilot, you mentioned the craft where you were flying reminded me of a Podracer, and that gave me an idea. Here it is. Apparently this top speed is 230 meters per second, mostly intended to mess about in atmosphere, built in the spaceplane hangar. Instructions for flying, here we go. I clearly need some instructions. There's a little bit of wobble on takeoff, but if you hold down W it will get up. After that it's quite steady. Up, down are reversed, so you may need to adjust the trim a little bit. Up, down are reversed. Okay. Right, as I put Skype on Do Not Disturb. Yes, I know, all of you immediately went, oh, I checked my Skype. So up and down are reversed. That is going to make things really hard to fly. And I know how that could be changed as well, but never mind. Start the engines. Take a look at our resources. So there's quite a lot of intake air, which means it can definitely fly at high altitudes. Although, no, these engines aren't built for flying at high altitudes. Huh. Okay, so I'm pressing W. Oh, we're gonna go off the runway. Oh, yes, and into the air. Oh wow. We close those landing gear. Wow, this is cool. And that actually, why are all the stable craft using these wings? Would someone like to explain to me why that is the case? I need to just make a ship which is made with just tons of these, and I need to push it to its limit. I imagine that at the rate we're going, if we use any more than 500 of solely these parts, then it will be unable to crash. That's the theory, at least. Oh man. Do you know what? This ship excites me, and it's not just the fact that, yay, they made a Podracer that actually works. It's the fact that we may actually end up finding a craft that, when I use the time warp test, actually doesn't survive. This may be the first craft on the entire series where that is the case. That'll be interesting, won't it? Definitely. Okay. Alright, let's try that then. It's definitely agile enough. It certainly has the agility for the job. And the wobbling. Oh, the wobbling's just so pleasing. Because it doesn't lag. And it's not made of a massive amount of parts. In fact, the majority of parts are in fact these decouplers. And so you can actually appreciate the lagging of a big wobbly ship. And despite the fact that it lags so much, it actually isn't unstable. It is actually a fairly stable craft. That's what makes it quite incredible. Okay, well, we'll see how that holds up with the use of time acceleration. 2 times speed. Whoa, wow, that is amplified wobbling there. Oh, nothing's broken. Whoa, it spins extremely fast. By God. This is just 2 times speed. I feel scared now. I don't know if I want to try 3 times speed. Maybe I'll just leave it. Maybe I won't try 3 times speed, hey? You should know me better than that. Oh God. Let's get stable. 3 and. Okay, and 3 times speed. Whoa! And things are broken. Hang on. Structural failure on linkage between basic jet engine and the jet fuel. Yep, there we go. We've lost an engine down here. And small control surface was damaged by the exhaust of that engine. And the other jet engine and the fuel broke. Yeah, both of the engines broke off. 3 times acceleration and the entire thing just dies. You know what this calls for. 4 times acceleration, of course. What else? What else would it be? Okay, so this time I'm going to try 4 times acceleration from liftoff. Oh man. Okay, put that on in case I didn't already. Right, 4 times acceleration. There we go, and the thing is sagging like no one's business. Throttle up. And it explodes on the runway. What else did I expect, really? What else did I expect? For any other ship it would be, oh, this thing can't be used in time acceleration. For this is just, this is brilliant. It is so funny that it can't be used in time acceleration. Okay. Let's get this thing into the air once more, then we can conclude our time acceleration challenge. It's interesting that up and down are inverted. Why is that? Why is that the case? Oh, it may be... I know what it is. The flaps at the front. I think I've mentioned it in the past, and I assumed it was an animation bug. That if you have flaps like such as these ahead of the center of mass, when you press down they will appear to be making your craft tip upwards, and when you press up they'll appear to make it go downwards. And people have said, yeah, it's probably just an animation bug, but no, it's exactly this situation where flaps are ahead of the center of mass, and by pressing forwards it tilts them up as if to pull the craft upwards. And in doing so, it actually makes it tilt forwards, or tilt up. If that makes any sense, you get my drift. You get my drift. So if we were to get rid of those and put the flaps on this back bit, then that would actually result in the normal control scheme returning. Anyway, 4 times acceleration. 3 times it can handle it. 4 times. It spins by itself and destroys itself. I like how the engines are the first thing to tear off. It's not the decouplers, these fragile little bendy things. No, they are absolutely fine. It's the engines that immediately tear themselves off, and then of course the things. Okay, so how about we stage now? Yes, there we go. So that is evidently why there's a parachute on the back. Because this kind of situation happens an awful lot. I like that this craft seems to have a lot of incidental parts, as if someone, I can't remember his name, as if the person making this soulless Verd, as if he just thought, we need this, oh we need this, oh we need this. That's not particularly detrimental. I'd like to see... I think this craft is clearly not really intended for anything other than, you know, let's just mess about and have fun. But if it were to be treated as a seriously attempt at a functional craft, there are a few things I'd change. And just out of curiosity, I want to find out what those are. So I would change... Does this have advanced CS? Yes, it does. Look at that ripple! Look at that ripple! That is beautiful! the majority of times you put advanced SAS on at low altitudes on planes, it makes them shake horribly. But that ripple is just like... It makes me remember, or reminds me of... What are they called? Sea creatures that they have big wings. Damn it, I've forgotten what they're called. But basically, you know, they ripple, their body, their surface area ripples to push the water back. And that is exactly what this does with advanced SAS. It doesn't shake wildly, it just ripples its way through the air. It's almost beautiful. That is excellent, I really like this. So what I'd do is I'd change these engines out for high atmosphere ones. It's certainly got the intake to take it up to high atmosphere. I would try, I don't know if it would work, I presume this has probably already been tried, but just out of interest and to experiment, I'd try removing these flaps and replacing them with ones on the back. I expect it wouldn't actually work enough to make it take off, for the simple fact that when they're at the front they tip the nose up and the engines therefore follow, whereas if it's at the back it's trying to push the base down into the ground and expecting the nose to tip up. It generally isn't as effective. So yeah, I imagine that that's already been tried. What else would I change? There's not many more complaints than that. RCS seems a bit unnecessary. This thing isn't orbital capable. In fact, the email did actually say if you modify it, you could probably quite easily get into orbit. So if I were to modify it, I don't doubt that would be the case. Well, if it was that easy to make single stage to orbit, then why isn't everyone doing it? I bet there will be complications, but as we spin out of control, this is really interesting. This provokes, for some reason, provokes a lot of questions in my mind about possible future designs, and that's luckily flat spin. That's what I want from this series. I want it to showcase craft that provoke thought and intrigue. Oh, what if I built this? Or what if I were to try this in my design? Or what about this? That's what this craft exactly does. There's something in it that just makes me excited. Like, yes, I could make something on this ideology. And I know people have submitted Podracers before, but this is the only one that's really caught my interest. In fact, the reason this one caught my interest, and it's quite lucky, is that I'm currently waiting to get into a recording session with the Team KSP members of Payday the Heist, or, you know, my fellow criminals. And I've got time to record a video, so I'm going to. Oh man, just managed to pull up in time. That is excellent. And a nice little ripple. That is all there really is to this craft, and it's pretty excellent. So, in terms of aesthetic, it's just beautiful. I really like it. I don't know why. I think there's certainly things wrong with it, don't get me wrong. There are quite a few things that I've already said I would change. Random solar panels for no apparent reason, but I just really like how it looks. The fact that it's stable enough, despite having such a weird... You wouldn't expect this to work, and yet it does. In fact, I reckon this works because there's thrust pulling everything forwards, trying to keep it in maybe a stable shape. If I turn off the engines... Probably just because KSP wouldn't really model it. It does in fact stay quite stable. Can it glide? No. Simple answer, no, it cannot. It definitely cannot glide. I think it needs the engine's gimballing. Let's test that. If we lock the gimbal on these, is it still working well enough? Yes, it does. Being at speed makes the flaps more effective, so yeah, it works fine. In fact, it probably... Well, I was going to say it makes it less wobbly, but I think that's rather impossible when you have this kind of structure. That is really good. I really like this ship. In terms of performance, you know, as I've said, it's fairly stable in circumstances you would not expect. It can do barrel rolls or aileron rolls. Yes, you can stop shouting at me. It can do aileron rolls. And there's not much else I can really say. I can probably do backflips. In fact, it can do backflips. That's almost a sure thing. And yeah, that is all there is really in for this episode. Actually, there's one thing I'd like to try, one more thing, as we prove that this thing can do a backflip. That's nice. I'm going to turn the gimbal and back on just to help it a little bit, perhaps. There we go. Okay, so what I want to see now is that when I abort, the parachute opens and these things break away. So if I were to not open the parachute, if I were to just break these things away, would this on its own be able to glide and land safely? And if it can glide, how long for? Like a good scientific experiment, I should probably make a prediction beforehand, so I'm going to predict this thing won't actually be able to glide very far. My reasoning is that it seems that the centre of lift is too far back compared to the centre of mass on its own. But I could be proven wrong. Perhaps that won't matter so much for such a small craft. Okay, we're going to give it a chance of getting to that island, I suppose. And this will be the final thing we do, so we better do it in cinematic mode. Okay. And detaching. Goodbye. Didn't do anything. Goodbye. There we go. Oh, wow. Oh, yes. Control screamers must have returned. Damn it. I was pressing S to try and go forwards, and now we're in the spin. We're not going to survive this. Yes, we are. It's definitely inherently unstable. Can't fly by itself. But that's not a massive problem. Thank you very much for watching this episode of the Kerbal Space Program Test Pilot. This was really, really interesting. I hope you guys agree. If you'd like to submit your own craft for the KSP Test Pilot, you can do so by emailing me at HOCgaming@live.co.uk with your submission. That is HOCgaming@live.co.uk. Everything you need to have a valid entry is in the description of this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you all next time.